as I said there, that power of identity or identity is one theme which is, it's one of the topic which is very intense. It can go vague if it is not put up the right way, or you do not know where the focus has to be. So my first question here to start with Swathi. What does identity mean to you, Swathi?
Thank you, Nanda. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, TEDx Southlake, my co-panelist speakers, and thank you, audience, for your time. I want to start this discussion with an ancient Sanskrit verse, which is very predominant, which is Swayam Prakasha Manaya Purnanandam Gananaha Niraste Sesha Tamaye Mamyoham Namo Namaha. What it means is, there is a light in your soul, core, body, where if you explore that and make it your identity, then it's going to shed darkness in you and around the world. And similarly, the same light is nothing but your identity, and it is the place where God resides. So that's how powerful identity is being compared to God by our elders. So Nanda, to answer your question, what identity means to me is me being kind, unbiased, transparent, and a person with dynamism, and a one who has values, integrity, and of course social responsibility.
What do you think, like what aspects of identity is the norm? That, I mean, Swathi, I would want you to answer.
Yeah, sure, it's a great question. Let me think. So, as everybody said, identity starts from exploring who am I, but from whom am I, it is like what as a person you want to be, like where you want to go. And on that process, there are so many norms which can influence you and can become a challenge for you, and sometimes it's even an opportunity. For instance, me being a woman and coming from South Asian community, I have certain rule book like which I need to follow, right, as a woman. But for me to become an entrepreneur, and it only drives, the passion is what drives me. And when I keep moving in my journey, and when people see what I'm trying to achieve, I think norms generally fade away. Right? So, in fact, we show different faces to different people. Usually, for people, it is like what they know about us than what they know who we actually are. Right? So, I think only few people know who we actually are. So, if you start following those norms, then it's only like you will be showing more and more number of faces to the world, but in general, you're not that. So that's why I really don't want anybody to follow norms. Agree to her point that I think identity, there are certain things which stay with you, but as I said, like this is what I feel, like there is no good identity, bad identity, right? It's only like strengths and weakness of every person. So I think when you think the other person has good strength, like if Caroline smiles, if she keeps smiling, then I would shamelessly copy that, you know, and I'll make that as my identity. So, you know, that's how I think it will evolve from time to time, but there are certain beliefs which will stay with you forever.
Yeah, so I mean, on that note, I ask you this question. Do you think generational stereotype associated with that identity impacts us as a leader at workplace?
I don't want that stereotype to be in the workplace, and just to avoid the discrimination, that's how like all my passion towards SheJobs have started. So whenever there is an opportunity, I'll take it for sure. So being unbiased and at the workplace, I think I think it is reducing so much now, but yes, it was there before.
It does impact.
Yeah. So which will say, you can see the minority here, who is minority on this stage. Let me tell you, I think the generation stereotypes are fading away. That's why you can see this all youngsters who are working on their passion, and they are coming up with startups, you know, which became like good companies now, right? They are working on their problem solving ability, and they are really not worried about anything. So yeah, and these leaders are creating new identity for them, right? So for a young grad, so he sees Srini and he actually identify himself with Srini maybe after some years, and a girl can see Uma and she can identify her. You know, I did that. So I think our identity, you know, somewhere influences that when you see leaders like that. It definitely shaped my identity. The more stereotype I am being put in, the more rebel I started becoming. And yeah, and because of those stereotypes, I started something, a startup which breaks the stereotypes, like at workplace. So yeah,
That's
I love
awesome.
stereotypes. They totally changed me.
How valuable do you think the name is to the identity? Because a lot of people go by nicknames, right? Do you think that that helps to confuse the identity if you hide behind a different name?
So I think it's a very tough question, but I'll try to answer with my small brain. So basically, they say that the person who is very much powerful is the one who is very much consistent in his identity. So I think if you have a powerful, a strong identity for yourself, then people will really forget your name and your identity will surpass that. So I think name is not that important. It's your identity which can become your name. I mean, you know, they can say, oh, that girl, okay, so because she's very strong, okay. Oh, her name is Swathi, oh, that's good. In this virtual world, I think people also became like more caring. So now if you cough, you know, the other person will say, oh yeah, are you okay? I mean, are you vaccinated? So I think they started to show more care in the virtual world. So I think there is some like change within the identities of people as well. Yeah, it's your own identity which we are asking you to explore, you know, and find out what is like how it transformed you or how you came to this. I mean, what are those core values which you believe in and all that. Of course, as I told in my previous conversation, that you can copy some of the good and you can just relieve some of the bad stuff, but I think your identity has to be like explored by you own. So to conclude this, I want to talk about few aspects of identity which transformed me and can transform anybody, right? So I think the most important thing for any of us is to be kind, because in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Because that is going to make you not to judge others' capabilities or anything, and you just see them as like actually who they are. And so that is, kindness is very important for me, and the way I see myself is the way world wants to see me. Like, so that's why being transparent is very important for me. And for me, just because I'm unbiased, that's how, you know, I became an entrepreneur with the SheJobs portal. And I would really suggest everybody not to mask your identity, because if you are in a situation where you need to come out of your identity, then I think it is your responsibility, you know, to come out of that situation. Because I know there are certain slip-arounds for all of us, that sometimes you do certain things which are actually not you. But how quickly you realize and come back to your own core values and authenticity is what defines us as humans. Because we all do mistakes, yeah. And this is especially for young girls and women, and even for myself, right? So people assume that identity is the clothes I wear, or my job title, or my hair, or my looks, and they try to fit in, as she said. But really, identity is not all of that, because it's going to fade away for sure. So it is our core values, beliefs, and how dignified are you inside and outside is what actually your identity can be. So I would really want to work on that for myself, and I would advise everybody to be on that lines. Thank you for the opportunity.